Hey guys, it's me again. I know it's been a long time since I've last recorded a message or given an update on my health, but I felt like I have been doing a lot behind the scenes and I really felt the need to share. So if you've got the time to sit down, pull up a chair, and just kind of catch up with me, and then if y'all have any questions or want to know anything, you're more than welcome to put it in the comments or hit me up on IG. You always know that I love to talk, so I'll get back to you as ASAP and we'll get them all answered. But as y'all know, I've had a real rough time with my Crohn's recently, and even got hospitalized about 2 weeks out. It was a flare. Excuse me. It was a flare. What happened is I had actually stopped taking my Protonics and was dealing with a lot of kidney issues at the time, and so I just never got it refilled. So I started taking some over-the-counter medication to kind of compensate for what it was, but it really wasn't as strong or as good as what I was getting from the doctors. So what ended up happening is, and we're still not 100% sure because we're going to get a small bowel follow-through here on the 17th and an MMR or something like that, or MME. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll put it in the comments when I figure out exactly what it is. But it's like a 2-hour long procedure on a tube or whatever. So what they said was it was like a small blockage. My colon was completely collapsed because I hadn't eaten in so many days. And I didn't actually use the restroom while I was in the hospital. I didn't actually use it until I was out, and I was in there for like 5 days. So, that all happened recently. So I had gotten better and ended up missing an interview to do childcare. I was pretty upset about that. And I don't know if any of you actually follow me on IG, but the ones that do know that I had a really serious issue with the doctor up there. And just to update you guys on that, the doctor that treated me like crap and I ended up landing in the hospital for freaking 5 days because he didn't want to treat me, I called up there and let them know exactly what I'm going to do if they don't figure out something to do with him, because that's the second time I've dealt with him and ended up in the hospital after he denied helping me and thought that I was a liar. So I told them either they do something about him or I'm gonna get a lawyer and do something about it. So I'll definitely keep y'all updated on that one, because as far as I'm concerned, if you get to mess with my livelihood, then I'm gonna mess with yours. And I'm not trying to be revengeful, but you can't sit there and hurt people. And if I don't speak up and say something about it, well, what happens to the next person? What if it's somebody weak or somebody that can't handle it and they die? Not okay. So anyways, got a little bit better and started, kind of venturing out of the house a little bit. So a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Maggie, who we've known each other for, Maggie? I think we've known each other for somewhere close to 14 years, 13, 14 years now. We won't tell anybody how old we were when we met, though. And she invited me to a class, and the class was on energy healing and working more along with metaphysical medicine, but in conjunction with modern medicine. So the guy that taught the class was an actual doctor, and he starts off the class with, when I turned 26 years old, my teacher or my grandmother died, and I had a dream. And in my dream, she came to me and told me that I was the one that was going to get the family powers, and I told her no, and she gave it to me anyways. So instead of just kind of explaining it 100%, he goes, let me go ahead and show you what I do. Now, this dude was an artist and he didn't really want to do this. Well, he ends up being trained as a doctor, and then this stuff starts happening to him. I think this is like somewhere in like he starts doing doctor stuff, and he starts having this experience and is able to actually see people's energy fields. Now, I know a lot of you that I talk to on IG are able to do this, and a lot of people can feel it. I have family members that are able to do this and feel this, and my father and I have been practicing what they call Reiki healing and remote healing now just naturally as something that we just ventured into. So when she invited me over to do this class, I was like, oh, cool. Now, mind you, me and her didn't expect much out of it. I mean, you really don't with today's society. There's a lot of hacks out there, and there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of people. So you always go in with speculation. But this guy was the real deal. And I mean, y'all don't have to believe me. My girlfriend Maggie was right there, and this shit was like, excuse my language, but legit. So he starts off by talking to this girl that's sitting 2 chairs to the side of me. She's next to my friend Maggie. And you can kind of tell that she's a little bit shy, and he asks her if he can step into her energy field. And he talks about the energy fields, guys. Now, y'all know how you can see people's auras and stuff like that. Now, he says everybody can pretty much see this halo effect that we all have. And you know, if you ever looked at this person, if you kind of let your eyes set and settle, you can always see this ring of color around their head, or ring of light around their head and their body. And that's the closest layer to the body. Now, each layer goes out from there, and each layer has like an emotion or a heart or something in that layer, and the outerest layer is your soul layer. Now, what he was explaining to us was that anybody that comes near you or steps into your field, which is supposed to be about 3 feet away from you, can feel you and you can feel them. Now, I don't know how many of you on here know this, but I am also an empath. It's something that I've known since I was a child. I didn't know a name for it, but I've always been able to sense feelings and stuff and see things and do things that were a little bit different, but never 100% was convinced that what I was doing or feeling was real until I started talking and reaching out to other people and realizing there's people like me too. Also, this goes into the simple fact of, as a Hispanic, we all know that brujeria shit, our parents talk about how this witchy stuff or Santeria and all this sort of thing. There's always bad things that can be brought up in this stuff. But this, by no chance, anything that you do and you put intention to, as long as it's good, it's not bad. All right? You're doing good, you're good. Anybody can be turned into bad. Cake can be bad if you do too much of it or you do it wrong. So, But anyways, this guy was, excuse me, guys. This guy was talking about stepping into people's energy fields. So he asked her if he could step into her energy field. And when he did this, even me and Maggie could feel his presence step into ours too, because we were close enough for all of our fields to be engaged. Now, as soon as he steps in, he starts talking to her about traumas and feelings and things that have happened to her, and he's hitting it nail on the head. And mind you, while he's doing this, me and Maggie are not speaking during this. We're just watching and taking it all in. We both felt that maybe all of our fields were being read at the same time, because there was a lot of information that was being read that was overlapping. Part of it had to do with music. Me and Maggie met through music and musical positions. Like, her husband's in a band. My husband was the manager of the band. Them two were best friends since they were like knee high to a grasshopper. It's ridiculous. So there was some stuff in there that kind of correlated with us. But then as he was doing the readings, he kept making eye contact with me, Maggie, and this other girl. So the next time that, you know, there was an opportunity to ask a question, I started asking questions. So as soon as I started asking questions, you can tell that he was interested in talking to me and he was stepping into my field. Now, mind you, I don't even think he asked if he could step into my field. Maggie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he did. And I think he just knew automatically that I was going to allow it to happen since I was asking questions. But as soon as he stepped in my field, I got extremely emotional. And I think it was more along the lines of, I just really could feel a serious energy off of him. So it was kind of scary, but I wasn't so much scared as in just excited and kind of blown away by what was going on. So he starts talking to me about, surviving. And we all know that the last 3 years have been nothing but survival. And he starts talking to me about certain traumas. Like, he didn't necessarily say what they were, but like, he talked to me about a trauma that I experienced in my young adulthood. And I did have a few things that occurred, and kind of knew what he was talking about. And mind you, I have already spoken with another dude and done some magnet healing. And the guy that I did the magnet healing with, he was able to tell my father that I had a trauma from my young adulthood that I hadn't let go of, and that I also had a trauma that me and my dad experienced together, and I wasn't able to let go of it. Well, this guy, without touching me, without knowing anything about me, was able to tell me this. And mind you, he's not a psychic. He's an energy reader. He's an energy healer. He was able to also feel a tethering to my father. Now, mind you, me and my dad, I told you we do this healing stuff. Y'all, I'm going to keep burping through this whole thing. I am having the absolute freaking worst gas from the gastroparesis, something that's recent. So half of my stomach's freaking paralyzed. So I burp like crazy all the time. It's gross. But excuse me. I'm just not going to have to. I can't erase it or else I'm going to literally be cutting this whole video up. But he's telling me these things and I am like, okay, I know where the attachment, he goes, there's a male attachment, and he points to this area. This is why I was in the hospital. Okay, this is where the block was. He says that there's a male attachment. The male attachment's my father. So as soon as he starts detaching the energy, I start crying. Not because I was sad because the energy was gone, but because I knew the attachment was my father. And I have always longed for a great relationship with my dad. And it's not that we've had a bad one. It's just that I'm a difficult child. I'm an emotional person. My dad was in the military, so it was kind of hard for us to manage each other's emotions and feelings and still get stuff done. But as I've become an adult and he's gotten older, we've been able to connect in this amazing way, and we've tethered, and we purposely tethered to each other because he does remote healing. Well, he broke the tether, which was purposely done because tethering to other humans or other people, even in remote healing and Reiki healing, is not a good idea. It drains you, it drains them. So the detachment was made. My father and I talked about it afterwards, and he understood and felt that there was something done. We were also able to converge on what our trauma was together. So now I'm able to work on that trauma and kind of accept and talk myself through it. So that also plays into when he was talking about energy fields. Like, he says there's certain blocks that we make, and those blockages, they start to eat away at the closest layer to our body. And then once we keep putting those negative thoughts into it, is when we start manifesting these diseases and these bad cells in these bad areas. I think, ew. Like I told you, we had this attachment here. I have had less pain. The pain went away when he did it. I've had less pain since then, and have now been dealing with other pain, kidney pain, which is something that, I have not worked on yet. But it's in my lower back area, which he said is a relationship thing. So each chakra area has its meaning, and when you get pains in those certain areas, if you go by what those areas mean, we can kind of figure out what those traumas, pains, or negative issues are. Now, another thing he was talking about is there's no such thing as a negative emotion. And I have to say that that's the most relieving thing that I've ever heard. Because if you think about it, why would any emotion be negative? Even if it's not a happy emotion or not even positive, even if it's not an emotion that even if it's not an emotion that's enjoyable, it's still an emotion that needs to be had. And something that I've learned to do with myself and my healing for my body is to allow myself to have my emotions, whether I feel that it's how do I explain this? Whether I feel like it's what society would care about, because who the fuck gives a fuck about society? More along the lines of acknowledge why this emotion's going on, figure out why I'm having it. And if it's an emotion that I don't think they should be having, I need to figure out why I'm having it. So that was another thing. It's just rethinking how we treat ourselves. And you have to think about it. The way we treat ourselves is terrible. We're still hard on ourselves and we're still mean to ourselves. I mean, how many times have us cronies talked about we hate our bodies? But you gotta think about it. Our bodies are only doing what we're allowing them to do. I mean, we're sitting here constantly bombarding ourselves with these negative, let me catch myself, with these unhealthy thoughts and feelings. I'm not worthy. I'm not right. I'm not this. I'm not that. I can't believe it did this. I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad wife. I'm a bad friend. Instead, we need to look at ourselves and go, you know what? You're a stardust soul in this flesh body that's just trying to figure out what my purpose is on this planet, trying to find my higher self and become a better person and a better human and help others while I'm here. And I really honestly feel that I have found my calling a little bit when it comes to this healing. Not saying that I'm a healer. I just know that I've always had an interest in the medical field, and I felt that because of my disease, I was unable to take my place. But maybe my place was never in modern medicine. Maybe it's in the metaphysical, because it's something that I've done naturally without knowing what it is, and I've slowly figured out what it is, and then magically Maggie came and literally showed me what I needed to do, like kind of gave me the answer that I've been going, hey, what is this hunger for this other thing? And she literally served it to me in a cool ass place full of crystals and butterflies and cool stuff. So that's another video that's gonna come. I gotta get a video of this place, you guys. It's absolutely freaking amazing. But anyways, the thing I really wanted to do is come across in this video was that us as chronically ill people, we have this gap in our health once the modern medicine stops. And the only way to really get the full healing is once we start healing the cells from the inside, we got to start healing ourselves from the outside in, because we're projecting these bad things or these negative things, and people are feeling this. If I walk into a room and I feel clammed up and I feel embarrassed and I feel small, I don't think anybody else is going to look at me and think anything else higher than what I'm thinking of myself. But if I walk into the room with confidence and light and love, and I try my best to be the best there, and even in a negative situation, promote my light and love to others, then maybe I can change the situation or change the room, or at least change a person that comes into my energy field. And I know for a fact that if somebody comes in with a negative energy field, then I need to boost my energy levels in order to make sure that they can feel mine as opposed to me feeling theirs. Because yes, there's going to be people that come in and are negative. And this goes for doctors. This goes for nurses too. Because God knows I've gotten a shit ton of people that have been mean to me. And I don't know what the fuck it's about. And excuse me for talking that way, but it really irritates the buzz out of me. But maybe we as patients have to be that change for them. And if it doesn't change them, then maybe it'll push them the hell out. Because we can't have people in the healing field that aren't healers. And the people that can heal on another level, we have to wake up and start healing our other friends. Because it's not just modern medicine. A pill's not going to fix it. A shot's not going to fix it. Surgery's not going to fix it. You're going to fix it. And I'm not saying that you can only fix it alone, because the truth is we need intervention. We need help from modern medicine, but it is not the only thing that we need to rely on anymore, guys. It's a new world we're coming into. And I want to also express to people that have been on my page and have kind of followed me on my journey. You've seen that I've spiritually taken a different path. And I don't know how everybody else believes or thinks or whatever, but, I still believe in God and I still believe in good and bad. But my mind and my thoughts are changing on how I can work in this world and what this world works for and what the real meaning of life is, and how religion and spirituality are two different things. How religion is man-made and spirituality is of the gods. And I say of the gods because the truth is your God and my God may not look the same, but we're all praying to the same person or the same beings. We're all praying to a higher power. And the truth is one mind is amazing, two minds are brilliant, but a whole bunch of minds working together for a greater cause is going to change this world. And as patients, as chronically ill people, as mentally ill people, as any kind of person that has these issues, what you have to understand is there's nothing wrong with you. It's something wrong with the way this world is working, and it's causing us grief, and it's changing how we are as people, and we have to make that change stop and turn it in a good direction. So hopefully I will be able to take some of these classes, or at least start teaching myself a little bit more on how I can do this for myself and others, because my biggest goal is to heal myself and to be able to help others heal themselves as well. If it happens, naturally, cool, but I'd really love to take a class. I really feel like, this was a sign. Me and one of my good friends getting back together after many years and then going to this class, and literally me and her have not haven't spoken like we used to, and haven't been able to be together like we used to, but we're literally walking the same lines and doing the same things and becoming, different people, and yet still have the essence of who we are when we met. And it's a beautiful, wonderful thing to reconnect with a spiritual sister like that. I love to call her my witchy sister. She's really helped me along on, helping myself spiritually, talking to myself, talking to my guides, speaking to my guides, and finding my truth in my own spirituality, in my own little religious way. So, anybody that has any questions about what those classes were and wants more information, I do have some, information that they gave me from the class. I think I'm actually going to do another video about where I am medically, when it comes to, what I think about Crohn's wise, where where my mind's at with ostomies and surgeries. I did leave a former doctor that I was with when this first all started up, and I feel like actually that he was holding me back mentally because of the fact that he never treated me with respect or really believed me. In order for me to for him to take me seriously, a lot of times my husband had to go. And I never understood that. I mean, I get that 32 years old may not be that old, but, 4 kids deep, married for 12 years. I think I know what I'm talking about. I don't need my husband to be approving what I have to say or to have to vouch for me. But, we live in a masculine world, and us feminine people tend to be a little bit mistreated, even in the medical ways. But I definitely don't want to go into discussion about that. Anyhow, you know, another thing is I just wanted to talk about mental health real quick when it comes to us cronies. This last experience that I had in the hospital was really rough for me. And it wasn't the fact that I was so sick, because I've been sicker and I've been more pain. More than anything, it was the fact that I wasn't believed. And, I've been doing this since I can remember. I've been dealing with this, and I've been living in this body and doing my thing. And to be sit there and told by medical professionals that there's nothing wrong with me, or I'm a drug addict, or I'm weak, or I don't know what I'm talking about, it's a real stick in the fucking ass. And I'm gonna look at every single one of you guys. Don't fucking let them talk to you like that. You're fucking important. And it doesn't matter what they say. They do not live your life every day. Just because they went to school and read a fucking book and answered some questions does not qualify them to live your life and know your truth. All they know is what they were told in a book. And guess what, guys? Crohn's is not by the book. We all know that. So, just a little wise words, just so that way you guys know I'm on your side. Don't feel bad and you're not alone. Because I really wish somebody would have been standing in the room telling me that this last time, because it really got in my motherfucking head, and it took me a few days, I'd say, to get the fuck over it. And I'm not the fuck over it yet. But we'll learn, and then we move on. But I hope that I was able to kind of let you guys in on my experience with this, but also kind of show you where I'm going in my healing. Showing y'all and letting y'all know that there is now others out there that are linking our health and physically with our health mentally, with our health metaphysically. Because guess what, you guys? You take a little tiny battery, right? And you can feel the energy off the battery. And you get this little energy coming off this battery when it's running. What makes you think that you don't put off energy and you start putting stuff out? Every one of you is like a little battery just bursting with energy. Y'all need to vibe that energy up, because the more that we're connected with our higher selves, the better we're going to be. I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but I'm telling you it's going to help, and we can heal each other. And I literally had a man heal me without touching me. I'm telling you, like, when he untethered, it stopped hurting. When he talked about this other trauma and I acknowledged what it was, and I knew in my head what it was, I started to have less pain. At that moment, it was gone. I think it's because of the acknowledgement. Yes, the pain started to come back, but I think that's because it's a constant work. You don't just fix things by talking about it the first time. You continuously talk about them, and then you learn to live with them and put them in the past and move on. So as I learn and experience what this is and kind of start tapping into it, I'm going to start making more videos, trying to see if I can kind of help others learn this and feel this. You know, a lot of this has to do with your chakras, okay? I don't know if anybody else is into that, but if you want to like start working on your chakras, each chakra means something and is in a certain spot of the body. Work on the chakra that you have your pain in. I'm telling you, you're going to see differences. I'm telling you, when you do it, hit me in the comments, guys. Hit me in the comments. Hit me on IG. Tell me if I'm a liar. Tell me if I'm telling the truth, because the only way you'll actually learn it is do it. The only way to freaking feel it is do it. The only way to see it is do it. The dude did it in front of me, and I'm telling you it works. So, let this be the beginning of a new era of videos. Still going to be about Crohn's, but we're not going to focus on the disease. We're going to focus on the healing. So get ready, guys. We're going to do some crazy shit in here. It's going to be fun. I'll talk to y'all later.